Welcome to a very special edition of Burning Questions. We've got not 4, not 5, but 6. Half a dozen queries we'll be quizzing the panel on today. But before we do that, everyone who watches Burning Questions, our regular patrons, know this is a little bit of light relief, a way to enjoy the middle of the week as we build up towards some very big racing. But today, Nathan Purdon joins us, and I think it's appropriate to send our condolences to you, mate, a legend of the sport, your grandfather, Roy, obviously passing. So we very much appreciate you joining us.
No worries at all, Jace.
And Andy, I saw some lovely words from you on Twitter about Roy. Not a man overly given to sentiment. In fact, I sent a lovely message to Andy during the week about letting us come out and work with him, and he just wrote back all good. Like, it was a really, I gave something of myself, and he just wrote back all good. But some lovely words from you about Roy. A privilege to know a great man, a genius, and a gentleman.
Yeah, and again, I think all racing community on both sides of the ditches are mourning Roy, and had the pleasure to know him, of him, their life. Left a legacy behind, and Nathan and the rest of the family can carry it on. They will.
Well, he's got an opportunity this weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But technically, things probably aren't what I would call spot on, hunky-dory at the minute. I can hear some stuff going on in the background, and I heard every third word from Andy just then. But we'll push forward. Sponsors. Whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best. Andy's did the other day when we were out there. They looked absolutely top-notch. And you do that with uniforms from hip pocket workwear and safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. Now, these questions are going to build up, okay? It's going to start slow, and we're going to move from there. Question 1. Skeeter, are Cash and Bondi morals, even if denied the front in their respective races, the Mercury 80 final and the 4-year-old Bonanza?
You love that word moral, don't you, Bon? But no, I don't think so. Especially not Cash and Flow, because 1,200-metre race drawn widest on the front row, it becomes awfully difficult, especially with the speed inside him. So he could be wide for a long way. So he's the class runner, no doubt, but I don't think he's a moral. Bondi Lockdown is closer to, but again, it's hard to declare anything an absolute moral when you've got the quality and the depth that is in that 4-year-old Bonanza. So no, I wouldn't be calling either.
They're both morals. I'm declaring them. Andy, you're allergic to the term moral as well. Talk us through it. Cash and Flow. I shouldn't be declaring anything in a 6 furlong race. Like, I hate myself. I've got a deep, profound hatred for myself. But Bondi Lockdown, I think, definitely wins. Talk us through your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm probably the opposite. I think Cash and Flow is more close to a moral and Bondi Lockdown. Just as simple, doesn't have the competition like Bondi Lockdown. Just, when you look at that field, Cash and Flow treatments are far more better than anything in the race. No disrespect to La Putty, but he's favourite, and La Putty's second favourite against Cash and Flow. You just, it probably lacks a lot of depth. Bondi Lockdown's a big horse, but he has got competition. He might have this, but he showed how tough he is. But I honestly think Cash and Flow is a moral. Probably use your term, Jason, and I think Bondi Lockdown can win, but I don't think it's a competition.
That's good enough for me. You know what, Andy? I reckon this, because we're getting a little bit of feedback and some crazy stuff is going on. If you could pretend you're Michael Guerin and talk as slow as possible through this segment, I reckon it'd work really well. I reckon that would help us. Nathan, what are your thoughts here? Cash and Flow, Bondi Lockdown. I'm with Andy. I just think doesn't matter whether the race is 500 metres or 5,000. Cash and Flow's got to beat those horses, I would have thought. And Bondi Lockdown, he just draws better than his major rivals in that big 4-year-old race.
Yeah, for sure, Jace. I think Cash and Flow is certainly the class runner of the race, and I'd be surprised if he didn't show us that in his race. And with Bondi Lockdown, I think he's probably one of the better horses I've seen since I've been here. He's a really top horse. Not many horses you see block wheels and pick themselves back up and just get launched and sit outside them and still win. And the arrogance that he did win it. So I think I'm on your side. I think they both are, really.
I think Aaron Dunn's really improved as a driver since Andy Gath sort of gave him some tips here on Burning Questions. And we'll talk about what Andy's done to your driver, Anthony, but I'm just a bit worried he might have unsettled him later, but we'll talk about that soon. Question 2 in the Burning Questions is brought to you by the Fresh Connection. They export Australian fresh fruit to more than 35 countries, headed up by a fabulous, magnificent export manager named Damien Glengarry. The Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. Freshconnection.com.au. Can their younger rivals upstage Spellbound and Maajida, Nathan? Or is Spellbound just going to lead and dominate? I know she's like me, likes a little bit of a freshen up, a little bit of time away from the races. So I think that's going to help.
Yeah, definitely. She seems in a pretty good zone too, Jay. So, yeah, I think she'll be pretty hard to beat if she gets out the gate as good as she can. Yeah, she'll run a pretty good mile in front.
Do you reckon she's a certainty to lead, Nathan?
Well, I'd be very surprised if she did get cross anyway.
I'll stand next to you. I want to see you very surprised. I haven't seen a lot of emotion from you, Nathan, so I want to see you flabbergasted. I'm going to make sure I'm right next to you when the race goes around. Andy, thoughts here? When I first saw the nominations and even the field, you sort of think, oh, maybe it's a race in 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. I actually think the younger rivals can beat them, and I can't believe Rogue Wave opened $31.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing that Rogue Wave, who's so good throughout the Vic Red Series, chasing home ladies in red and that. So, yeah, no, it's a great filly in her own right, and obviously it's a huge step up in class straight away. Spellbound have had extra trial parts of season, but ability takes you a long way. But I think Spellbound can lead. It's going to be hard to beat, especially over the short. But I wouldn't discount the younger brigade coming through. But I'm probably Spellbound with this, and hopefully first of many winners for Nathan for tonight.
I wouldn't think that was your best impression of Michael Guerin, but look, we'll keep on moving through. We've got 4 more questions. Skeeter, we've spoken about this for a fair while, that these 3-year-old fillies, probably a handful, would be better than all the mares that were racing around. So even I'm Often Gone, who's got form through better twists, yeah, it's a tricky race.
It is. I think Maajida and Spellbound, they've been there and done that, so there's no doubt they're the ones to beat. But yeah, I was like you guys. I was dumbfounded that Rogue Wave opened $31. Trialled nicely and got within 2 metres of Ladies in Red last time in. So we know how strong that form line is. Shayla's, she was one that was a bit behind those 3-year-old fillies, and then came out and has gone really well post Big Red Series. So I think it's probably a lot more open than just those 2 key runners. I'm Often Gone was excellent last time as well. Even Enchanted Stride, she's paying $22 a place, and she's trialled quite well leading into this. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of an upset in that race.
$22 a place. Has trialled well. Agree. Fantastic. Question 3. This one's brought to you by Australian Pacing Gold. Not Andrew Patrick Gath. ABG Australian Pacing Gold. They're having their Melbourne Yearling sales on Sunday. Just try and stay nice and neat and tidy after the Hunter Cup and make sure you get there. Experience the excitement of the ABG Melbourne Yearling sales on Sunday, February 6th. It says 185 quality yearlings here. I think there's less than 150. A lot of confusion. All eligible for ABG's $3.25 million race series. Go to apgold.com.au. Question 3, Skeeter. I know you've heard good things about Just Hope. Has she progressed enough to beat Amore Vita? Just pretend Nathan's not in the room. He's in the room. Pretend he's not. Has Just Hope progressed enough to beat her on Saturday night?
Look, I think she has on this occasion, Bon, because I think she's got that tactical speed early to cross, and Amore Vita will have to sit outside her. And she was excellent first up at Ballarat. She hadn't had a trial leading into that, so she could even improve from that effort. And she found the top and ran along there and ran some really good sectionals. So I think she's definitely gone up a level. And this week I think from the barrier draw, I think she can cross them early lead, and she's going to be hard to beat from there.
I've tipped her on top, so it's going to be hard to look Nathan in the eye, but I'm going to. Nathan, Amore Vita, she just got better and better towards the end of last year. The question is, how wound up is she to win this race? You out there with Amore Vita at her absolute best. I'll tell you one bloke who's fallen in love, Dan Malecki. He calls his 27th Hunter Cup on Saturday night, and he's sick for Amore Vita. Do you just go out there and outclass Just Hope, or won't it be that easy?
I've certainly got respect on how much Just Hope sort of improved and the way she won it at Ballarat. But oh, hold on here, decline. We're back.
That person's barred, Nathan. Whoever just called you, then they are absolutely barred. But anyway,
okay, yeah, and the way she went at Ballarat. But I got a lot of time for Amore Vita. I think she's a very classy horse, and I'd probably be surprised if she got beat, to be honest.
Well, there you go, Andy. I can normally read Andy like a book. I just go into his prefrontal cortex. I reckon you'll be saying Just Hope will win this race. But am I right?
No.
Okay, so I can't see. In fact, that you've got a little bit of bone there. Yeah, I know. I'm still with Amore Vita, are you?
Yeah, I think Amore, she's so strong and got really good class. Just quite dominant first up, and Rusty Stable's in really great form and going to be in front. But I just think Amore Vita just that little bit more seasoned, had tough racing. Even up past the park outside of Just Hope, going to probably get the job done. And yeah, I'm with Amore Vita's court.
There you go, 2 and 2. It's the experts against the participants. I'm frightened. Question 4 of the burning questions. There's 6 today. Don't forget that big week. The last of our burning questions is brought to us by Felvo Fruits. They also specialise in table grapes. They don't do the cherries and mangoes. They're a grape crew, really. They're all about the grapes, and they've been doing it since the 1960s. Michael and Josie Felvo are keeping the tradition going. They don't have any export managers doing terrific jobs, but they're still a great crew, and everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Felvo Fruits. You know you'll love them. Right. Let's get stuck into question 4. Nathan, will the King lead outright in the Hunter Cup from pole? Now, you'd be hoping very much that is the case.
Yeah, hopefully chase them out as hard as he can. But look, it's in these bigger races, 90% of the time it doesn't unfold the way you think it is. So we've got to hope that it does the way it reads on paper. But we're not going to hold our breath anyway.
She's an extraordinary mare, isn't she? I mean, to have won the races she has, she's beaten the boys. Both of her Grand Circuit wins have come from behind the leader. When you saw the barrier draw on Monday, you must have just had a quiet smile to yourself, Nathan.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much perfect, really. Before the race, you sit there and think, well, if you draw 1 to 5, you're in a good spot. And a lot of the barrier draws started closing up, and we still had a name to come out, and we're trying to think where the next best spot was, and eventually it come where we won the second line, and King was in front of us. So we couldn't be following out a better horse, really.
I did reference this earlier, and I know he's going for his 8th Hunter Cup when your driver, Anthony, but do you feel he's been the psychological game playing on burning questions from Andy Gath? Is he not quite where he should be going into a big race like this after being manipulated by Andy on this show?
Well, I hope he is anyway.
I hope he is too, but I'll tell you what, there's been a lot go on. Andy, you do dominate people on this show. You're a very frightening character. What are your thoughts here? I thought there might be, the more I looked into it, the more I thought there might be a little bit of game playing at the start here in this Hunter Cup.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think King of Swing lead and be looking to lead. Sort of very pro, so he should get a nice soft lead top line. He hasn't got green gate speed, got enough to hold up. I anything in this race that could cross. And again, I think he'll be fun. Amazing Dream on its back, and probably on. It might be a fully run race. Who knows? We thought Ballarat might have. It only takes 1 or 2 drivers not to happen, but I'm pretty confident that King will be in front.
I reckon if Amazing Dream's behind the leader, she should be, she's the winner, in my opinion. I've tipped her on top regardless, so I'm back on terms with Nathan after saying Amore Vita might get beat. We're just squaring up there. Skeeter, your thoughts here? The big advantage for the King here, King of Swing, is that it's a remarkably moderate front line for gate speed, given it's a Hunter Cup.
It really is, Bon, isn't it? And that was my initial thoughts. As soon as he drew 1, I had flashbacks of Queensland where he was going to be crossed, and then of course went roughly and broke, and that all happened. But it's really not a quick front line at all. So I tend to think that that he will be leading. That will be plan one. The lesser likely option in my head is that Spirit of St. Louis gets across and then King of Swing does the retake. I think that's a chance to happen, and Spirit of St. Louis probably is the only one on that front row that can cross King of Swing. So that may happen, but I think more likely King of Swing will lead outright.
All right. 2 questions for the undercut, because why not? It's the undercut. Andy, has the Arty party been destroyed by dire draw? I wish it wasn't true, but I feel it might be.
Yeah, no, it's going to be difficult for him. Obviously, he's not going to be able to find the fence. We know he's not at his best, but he's got better each run. Sal's been able to put a lot more work into this race, and he's a champion. You never rule out a champion. And if he's sitting in the death, it might not be a really fun race. Work into his favour. So I wouldn't rule him out. He's such a great horse, and probably just get down to tempo. But it's not an ideal. But again, I'm sure you mark improvement in because he hasn't raced for the last couple. Still won't be probably the best version of Arty, but I don't know away.
Nathan, I know you won't be potting Arty because you have been around champion humans and champion horses your whole life, and you know what they can do under pressure. And he's a champion, Lochinvar. It's just exactly how close to 100% he is, and I think we all agree he's probably somewhere around 95.
Yeah, it's probably true. He has been a great horse for a while now, and I don't underestimate the fact that David will have him peaking, on the day. I'm sure he'll run a usual honest race, but whether that's good enough to win a race like that and beat horses like King of Swing is another story. But you certainly got to respect him anyway.
Are you a little bit burned at the moment, Nathan, or do you? I think you just have a natural rosy glow, don't you? You've got a rosy glow around the cheeks generally.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, me too. Me too. A couple of extra glasses of wine made from the grapes from Falvo Fruits, no doubt. Skeeter, your thoughts here? It's hard to say it, isn't it? It's hard to say. It's hard to actually utter the words that Lochinvar is in a lot of trouble here, because it would be a great story if he won. It just seems very hard to envisage at the moment.
Yeah, it does. And like Andy said, I expect further improvement from those first 2 runs. And he's been really good, but he just probably, as we all know, hasn't seemed like the bottomless Lochinvar that we saw 12 months ago take out this race. So, look, I think he'll go close, but it is probably everyone's conceded that he's going to be sitting in the breeze. And from there, it's going to be hard, and he's going to have to be that best horse in the race. So he is a champion. You couldn't completely rule him out, but it does look pretty hard this week.
All right, time for question 6. We're about to wind it up. 10 best bets, by the way, so remember the best bets. But here we go. Andy, will the final draw decide our richest trotting race? Before you decided to rock up for our little shoot the other day for racing.com on Saturday night, spoke to Kate about who she would drive in the final of the Great Southern Star should Tornado Valley and Majestuoso both get through. And she was still saying, well, the draw may decide who she decides to steer. I tend to think Majestuoso's the one to beat regardless. How do you think this is going to play?
Yeah, I think really get down barrier draw to be even if you the heat win, you could draw barrier 8 final 1700. It's not like tough, but the 2 horses that could probably overcome a bad barrier probably Majestic, not Ready Jet. But I think anything else in the race and the nice draw to be able to whether they get. So, yeah, I think it'll be very much barrier draw dependent, and got 2 good in the heats, but that doesn't guarantee you in the final. So, yeah, and the chance to get another 2 good draws in will probably up the heat. So, no, it's going to be pretty difficult. It's a step. Lucky to be, but again, I think it'll just get barrier draw, to be honest.
Do we agree that 270 for both I'm Ready Jet and Majestuoso in that second heat? If you like a small profit, you just back them both, because I can't see anything else winning, Andy.
No, I agree with you. I'm surprised that they're both quite big odds. That's what they both been, actually. And, especially if that scenario plays out, I'm Ready Jet on track. Going on previous form, top 2 seeds.
Nathan, there's not a lot between our top trotters. I know Michael Gearin tells me every sort of 23 hours that Sunday Sun would just come over and win by 40 metres. All well and good. He's not here, but the ones that are here, there's not a lot between them. So the draw in the final is going to be pretty critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, Jace. I think there's got to be sort of 4 or 5 winning hopes there, and it comes down to not only the final race, but what happens in the lead-up races too. So a lot goes down into it, and there's a lot of talent in the race. So it'll be a good race to sit back and watch anyway.
That's all I'll be doing. I don't think I'll be competing unless I get a late call up. Skeeter, what are your thoughts? Does the final draw decide the race, or have you got one that you think is head and shoulders above them? I don't think anyone's head and shoulders, but I'm with Andy that Majestuoso and I'm Ready Jet are the ones that could draw poorly in the final and still beat better drawn rivals, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I'd probably throw Always Ready into that category as well. I just think he's flying at the moment. I really liked his run the other day, as we've already spoken about earlier in the week. So, I tend to agree. I think they are the quality runners in the field. However, if something else was to draw well, we know how important barrier draws can be. So it's going to be a fantastic series. I love the heats into the final, and I can't wait for it. But the barrier draw is going to be awfully important.
All right, best bets. Best bets time. I'm going with the two that I've called the morals earlier. I'm going to go 2 because I can't seem to get a best bet, so I'm trying to cover my bases. Bondi Lockdown and Cash and Flow on Saturday night. Nathan, don't you dare say Amore Vita. That's what you're going to say, I think. But anyway, who's your best bet across the weekend, the 2 big meetings on Friday and Saturday night?
Well, I wasn't going to say Jace, but now I feel like I have to, so Amore Vita.
To be honest, I think everyone will want you to get as many wins as possible, given the circumstances, and we want to see some enthusiasm, and I think we will see some emotion as well. Skeeter, best?
I've got Bondi Lockdown as my best. Not a moral, but I think awfully hard to beat. But you've dashed my confidence a little bit now, so I'm going with him.
Yeah, right, yeah. Andy's been back on a good run of late. He's been sort of travelling up on the bridle, hasn't he? What do you got for this weekend, Andy?
Well, this week we'll find out how good I'm going, because I'm going with Bond. I'm going with Cash. So, yeah, I just think it'd be too for him, and I think $1.90 seems overs.
I love the fact that you two have just shared. You've taken one each. I've said, you have that one, and you have that one. God bless you both. That's been Burning Questions. It's going to be an amazing weekend, as we know. Great Southern Star into the Hunter Cup. And Nathan, like, we're not. I don't want to be that journalist that's trying to squeeze emotion out of you, but I think everything that happens this week, anything positive, particularly if Amazing Dream wins, I think it's going to be an amazingly special moment. There's no better way to pay tribute, is there?
No, certainly not. No, definitely not. It's be a great thrill, and I know up until the part he passed, he never missed a race, and he always kept up to date and that sort of stuff. So it'd be great to be able to get the job done.
The seminal legend of Australasian harness racing, and Nathan will do him proud on Saturday night. Andy, well done again. You've had a big week on Media Street. You might need to sign a contract with somebody soon, I would imagine.
That's it. No, I'm really struggling, but I saw what you were picking up, so I've joined the club and I'm to the premiers. So I said that you had half a dozen while you at my stuff. Yeah, no, the sugar fix is keeping me going all week.
I haven't slept since having those 6 premiers. They are just pure sugar. Skeeter, well done, and we're up for a very exciting weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, trotsvisionracing.com. The lot, it doesn't get better than this.
No, huge weekend. Can't wait for it, Bon.
Au revoir to all. That's been Burning Questions. Enjoy a massive weekend. And if we all pass out and potentially don't wake up for 3 days at the end of the Hunter Cup, you've got to forgive us. That's been Burning Questions. Maybe we'll be back next week.